Imagine a cold so intense it feels like a living enemy. On the Eastern Front in World War II, temperatures dropped to -40°C. Cold that could kill as surely as any bullet. Metal became a hazard. Touch your rifle with bare skin, and you'd tear flesh away. The cold was relentless, seeping into every trench and uniform, offering no escape. Soldiers faced two enemies, the opposing army and the merciless winter. Frostbite, hypothermia, and disease claimed as many lives as combat. The silence of a frozen forest was eerie. Every sound amplified, every movement dangerous. Even simple tasks, eating, relieving oneself, became ordeals that risked frostbite. Machinery failed, lubricants thickened, rubber shattered, food froze solid. Bread had to be hacked apart, and meat was as hard as stone. This was a battle against nature itself, fought by men desperate just to survive the night. For many, the fight was not for victory, but simply to see another sunrise. When Germany invaded the Soviet Union, they expected a quick victory, so they brought summer uniforms. Thin wool tunics and leather boots were no match for the Russian winter. Soldiers lacked insulated boots, gloves, and proper headgear. Frostbite and trench foot were rampant. Greatcoats froze stiff, boots turned to ice, and ears blackened with frostbite. The German war machine stalled, engines wouldn't start, weapons jammed, and supply lines collapsed. In contrast, Soviet troops wore padded jackets, felt boots, and fur hats, gear designed for survival. The difference was deadly. Soviets endured, Germans froze. The arrogance of planning for a short war cost hundreds of thousands of lives. Men were left to improvise, abandoned by leaders who underestimated the cold. The winter became a ruthless equalizer, punishing the unprepared. With supply lines broken, survival meant improvisation. Soldiers layered every scrap they could find, shirts, trousers, even newspapers and straw stuffed under uniforms. They scavenged clothing from the dead, friend or foe, and wrapped boots in rags and straw. Makeshift gloves, civilian scarves and blankets became precious finds. Shelters were dug deep into snowbanks, lined with pine boughs or straw for insulation. Fires were small and hidden, shared by huddled groups desperate for warmth. Creativity was survival, stoves from shell casings, face masks from cloth, every object repurposed. Even a piece of canvas or parachute became vital insulation. The constant need to adapt was exhausting, but it kept men alive. They became more than soldiers. They were survivors, fighting a war their generals never imagined. In the frozen wasteland, ingenuity was as important as any weapon. In winter warfare, one rule was sacred: keep your feet dry. Wet feet meant frostbite, gangrene, and often amputation. Standard boots offered no protection. Once wet, they froze solid, cutting off circulation. Soldiers massaged their feet, changed socks whenever possible, and treasured every dry pair. Socks were traded like gold, often kept warm inside shirts for emergencies. Boots were never left outside to freeze. Men slept with them to keep the leather pliable. The ritual of foot care was a daily battle for survival. A soldier unable to walk was left behind, sometimes to die. The gospel of dry feet was learned the hard way, written in the frozen limbs of those who failed. In the end, survival often came down to the simplest acts of care. The cold punished every mistake, and mercy was rare. Even sleep was dangerous. Hypothermia could claim a man before dawn. Soldiers huddled together, sharing blankets and body heat, always on watch for frostbite. Teamwork was essential. A careless guard or dying fire could doom everyone. Food was another struggle. Rations froze solid. Bread had to be hacked apart. Cans sometimes burst from the cold. The body burned calories just to stay warm, making hunger a constant threat. Fires were both lifeline and liability. Warmth meant risking detection by the enemy. Small smokeless fires became the center of existence, a fragile beacon in the frozen dark. Every night was a battle against the cold, hunger, and exhaustion. Survival depended on vigilance, cooperation, and the will to endure. In the endless winter, even rest was a risk. The cold didn't just attack bodies, it crippled weapons. Metal seized, lubricants congealed, and guns jammed after a few shots. Sophisticated German weapons failed more often than the rugged Soviet designs. Mortars and artillery froze, grenades misfired, and entire units were left defenseless. The battlefield became a place of terrifying uncertainty. Morale suffered, pain, isolation, and the endless cold wore men down. Patriotism faded. Survival became the only goal. The white landscape and biting wind created a sense of hopelessness. Every morning was a test of will just to get up and keep going. Those who survived clung to hope, fighting not just the enemy, but despair. The cold was a relentless adversary, breaking men in body and spirit. For survivors, the war against the cold never truly ended. Frostbite left missing fingers and toes. Breathing frozen air caused lifelong damage. The psychological scars ran deeper. Memories of comrades lost, desperate acts for warmth, and the ever-present fear. Many suffered from what we now call PTSD, haunted by winter's ghost. The lessons were paid for, and blood armies learned the value of proper gear and preparation. The German failure to respect the cold became a cautionary tale for all militaries. Nature, underestimated, proved deadlier than any weapon. Survival required adaptation, teamwork, and relentless will. For every survivor, many more were claimed by the cold, lying forever in frozen soil. The memory of that winter endures, a silent testament to a war fought against an enemy that could never be defeated, only endured.